Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You probably know that a lot of negotiation and communication occurs behind behind the curtains and that we don't have access to behind the scenes. And that occurs between the Russians and Americans and everybody else. They have their channels of communication and decisions are made way ahead of time. When we hear about them, they're probably been already discussed for some weeks. And in this case, we have a very revealing example of this kind of negotiations occurring behind the scenes. So this article comes from Reuters from November 5th, 2022. This is the title. US privately asks Ukraine to show Russia it's open to talks. This is per Washington Post. The Biden administration is privately encouraging Ukraine's leaders to signal an openness to negotiate with Russia and drop their public refusal to engage in peace talks unless President Vladimir Putin is removed from power, the Washington Post reported on Saturday. The paper quoted unnamed people familiar with the discussions as request by American officials was not aimed at pushing Ukraine to the negotiating table, but a calculated attempt to ensure Kiev maintains the support of other nations facing constituencies wary of fueling a war for many years to come. So that is, guys, keep that in mind, that's going to affect our elections because the weasels might get hurt and their standards of living are going to decrease and they will vote us out of the office. But it's okay. The next ones are going to be in the pockets of the same sponsors. But be mindful of this. It said the discussions illustrated the complexity of the Biden administration's position on Ukraine, as U.S. officials publicly vow to support Kiev with massive sums of aid for as long as it takes, while hoping for a resolution to the 8-month conflict that has taken a big toll on the world economy and triggered fears of nuclear war. Yes, the Russians will withstand the economic pressure, but the Western population will not. I mentioned that many times before. When you live in scarcity, a little bit of more scarcity doesn't affect you. But when you live in abundance, if you take just a Snicker or a Coca-Cola that you used to drink a week, let's say you drink 5 a week and they take one from your 5, you're gonna drink 4, that's the end of the world. And you're gonna start yelling or screaming bloody murder because that's how a pussified society is, too comfortable. I made this point many times. I'm not going to make it again beyond of what I just said. It says here that the paper said US officials shared the assessment of their Ukrainian counterparts that Putin is not for now serious about negotiations, but it's not serious. He says, I'm always open, but I have my points that I need to be fulfilled. But acknowledged that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's ban on talks with him had generated concern in parts of Europe, Africa and Latin America, where the war's effects on cost of food and fuel are felt most sharply. Ukraine's fatigue, there's a quote, is a real thing for some of our partners, end quote. The Post quoted one unnamed U.S. official as saying. The White House National Security Council and the State Department did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the request. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said during a visit to Kiev on this Friday, that Washington's support for Ukraine would remain unwavering and unflinching following next Tuesday's midterm congressional elections. This is what I foresee happening. Zelensky is the puppet of United States. when the United States will tell Zelensky at one point, hey, enough is enough, we got hurt, our population, our voters got hurt, and all that, the economy is going in a recession, okay, the game is over, stop, go and talk. I foresee Zelensky declining to do so. He's going to say, no, I won't do that. And he's going to come publicly and say, hey, pressures are made against or on me for doing this and doing that. Well, we will not give up the sovereignty of, and he's going to start with that kind of nationalism, that the sovereignty of Ukraine is not to be determined by those, that and that and that, ignoring that he is alive and he is where he is at and respected because of those guys. When those guys going to pull the plug off this guy, he's going to be immediately called this, he's going to be called this, he's going to be called that, and he's going to be called for his removal. And he's going to be blown up, literally. He's not going to be removed by, hey, please this way. No, he's going to be at a gunpoint or blown up by an accident or something. That's what Zelensky is not going to relinquish power. He likes the life he lives. And I think it got to his head that he's really what he is. Remember, he's got billions of dollars in accounts, aid. He's got military. He's a very important person. He's going to probably receive the Nobel Peace Prize and other things before the plug gets pulled. When the plug gets pulled, he's going to be probably called a war criminal. And he's going to be removed because he and his leadership are going to show their true color. Remember, they're going to turn into what the Mujahideen in Afghanistan turned into Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda into ISIS, and so on. All those guys against the sponsors, remember? The same thing will happen with this guy. That's my prediction, 98%. That's how much I give on this guy. So this guy is going to say, no, we're not going to negotiate. United States now supposedly make hints. They're going to increase the hints into, hey, please do that. And they're going to do it, they're going to turn into demands, and they're going to turn into threats and blackmail and all that. And this guy is not going to just go away. He's not going to go away. And if he's going to negotiate with Putin because he doesn't want to be blown up, then so be it. But he's going to try to stay in power as much as he can. And the sponsors, this is a danger with this. When you sponsor and you give thugs money and you sponsor them, they will turn against you at one point because they will think that they are strong enough to survive on their own. They just forget that you can squash them at any point, and then they will get blown up. That happened before, will happen here. I'm 98% sure. I don't think Zelensky is going to say, okay, I'm going to start negotiating with Putin. It's very possible because he's a weasel. But I think that he's going to really think that he is what he is through his own power and knowledge and quality. Not that he's over there only because those guys pushed him over there, propelled him over there, and keep him over there, support him over there. He really thinks he's the guy. So yes, I have no doubt that these guys communicate with one another, and they told him even more than they suggested. And one thing what they say in public, obviously, another thing what happens behind closed doors. We'll see. But the mere fact that these guys are talking about this with Zelensky tells me they are ready. They're done. Time is up. We gotta close this chapter somehow. We didn't need Russians, and I don't know how long we will be going because look. But I don't know if the citizens will, how would you put it, start protesting and being politically active. I don't think so. I think they still have their beer in the refrigerator. They have their games on the TV. I think they still have this kind of electricity, heat, air conditioning wherever they are. So unless you pluck them off those things or some of those things, they will still be comfortable. They don't have to speak up, they don't have to talk, they have to be just, followers, lemmings, as someone that I knew used to say. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.